welcome back to another day, and you're probably all wondering why Renee and I are wearing cheese hats. Well, that's because today we're going to go over a presentation on Bass and cheese.
Because I sure am hungry.
No, Renee, not the cheese that you eat. I'm talking about the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. We're going to get into a little bit more detail on that because I'm sure you guys are all probably wondering, what's up with cheese?
I am.
Alright, so the Charter High-Speed Security Suite, or Chsss, and Charter Supported Home Networking, those are the two products that the Value-Added Services, or the VAS team, supports. So what is cheese? No, Renee, I'm not talking about Swiss cheese. I'm not even talking about American cheese. I'm talking about the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. The Charter High-Speed Security Suite is actually a security suite provided by a company called F-Secure. F-Secure is based out of Helsinki, Finland, but they have let us use their services so that we can provide our customers with an up-to-date security suite. Chsss version 6.15 currently provides customers with the following features. They have antivirus protection, firewall security, parental controls, and web filtering so that your children don't go to sites you don't want them to. You've got spam controls to avoid all those nasty unwanted emails, anti-spyware, a pop-up blocker, browser and system controls. Gosh, what does Chsss not provide?
Real cheese?
No, Renee. Alright, so what does Chsss look like? And I'm not talking about these blocks of cheese on our head. I'm talking about the program cheese. This is what you would look at if you're looking at the program cheese. Now, what do you need to use the Charter High-Speed Security Suite? Believe it or not, there are minimum requirements on the customer's computer before they can run the software. They do have to have a Pentium 2 or higher. They have to have Microsoft Windows 98 at least. Probably a newer version than that would be the best deal. They have to have at least 128 megabytes of RAM, and that's on Windows 98 and Millennium Edition. Now, on the newer versions, Windows 2000 and Windows XP, they have to have at least 256 megabytes of RAM.
Now, what happens if I don't have at least 256 megabytes of RAM?
It'll slow down your computer. And they don't want that. So make sure that they know about that before they download the program. Now, let's say they also don't have enough hard drive space. The program's not going to run properly. So make sure that the customer has at least 320 megabytes of hard disk space free. And also, they need to have a 256 color display. They need to have an active internet connection, obviously. And they also want to have Internet Explorer 5.5 or later. So who has access to the Charter High-Speed Security Suite? 10 meg customers do have 3 free security keys as part of their subscription. And also, the 5 meg and 3 meg customers also get 3 free keys. Just for having the faster speeds, as if it's not great enough to already be going super duper fast, we give them free Charter High-Speed Security Suite. You can't ask for a better deal. Now, other subscribers can actually get the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. They just have to pay an additional fee, which is usually right around $4.95 for the keys. And that includes 24/7 support. Now, customers in Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, St. Louis, and Louisiana get 3 activation keys with their 384 service. So that's a great deal for customers in that area, too.
I should move to Georgia.
You should. Now, what about frontline Chsss support? You can educate your customers regarding the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. You can definitely direct the customers to the online virus scan to remove any infections before they download the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. That's very important. You can also assist the customers with the product installation up until the time that it asks for their activation key. From that point on, it's pretty self-explanatory, so they should be able to do that on their own. You can also assist the customers with service upgrades, and you get commission if you upgrade their service.
Ooh.
And you can verify connectivity issues related to the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. So if you've definitely determined that it's the Charter High-Speed Security Suite, then you can get them over to the VAS team, and we should be able to help them out with that. So, Renee, what can I do if I get a Charter High-Speed Security Suite call?
Offer them some cheese?
that probably won't fix their problem, but that was a great idea. What you actually can do is, if the customer has not yet installed Chsss, you can definitely provide information about the product. You can determine that they're eligible to download the product. You can direct them to member services, which is update.charter.com, and you can ensure that they can log in, because they can't really do anything on the site if they can't log in. Don't forget that they do have other resources. We can send them push documents from CCI or KMS, and we've got a support portal that they can actually go to. Also, remind them to remove third-party programs. Security software such as Norton or any other security program might actually interfere with this. And then verify that the key that the customer is entering does match the one listed in Xeon or Aurora, because believe it or not, people don't always write down that key correctly, and they don't always type it in correctly either. So, what else can I do if I get a Chsss call? If the customer already has Chsss, then you just troubleshoot as normal. You can rule out RF, which remember I told you to do on every single call. You can power cycle that modem. You can verify that the customer can release and renew their IP address. If they can't, what does that usually mean?
They have a signal issue?
No, but that's close. It usually means that there's some sort of hardware issue, possibly with their network interface card, not letting them release or renew. You can also unload the Charter High-Speed Security Suite, because if it's not our Charter High-Speed Security Suite, then unloading the program is not going to fix the problem. Also, remember that Chsss is just another security suite, just like McAfee or Norton or AVG or any other program. So, what else can I do if I get a Chsss call? You can disable the firewall by right-clicking on it in the system tray icon in the bottom right-hand corner of their computer screen. It looks like little green shields, and it says unload. Thank you, Renee. When asked, go ahead and select Allow All Traffic. To reload the security suite, simply restart their computer, and it will load. Pretty simple, right? So, when exactly do we transfer to the VAS team? Well, first of all, when your troubleshooting indicates that it's definitely a Charter High-Speed Security Suite issue, you're going to want to go ahead and transfer it over to VAS. You want to rule out any virus issues, if they've got any PC issues that occurred immediately after they installed Chsss, or if they got a virus after they installed, or if your troubleshooting and it indicates that there's a firewall on Chsss that's blocking, then definitely get them over to VAS. Now, before you transfer, go ahead and have the customer reboot their PC. And you also want to make sure that you notate that account just to cover yourself per the system guidelines. That way, when VAS talks to that customer, they can quickly look at your note and know everything that you did before you sent them over here. Now, here's some more additional information about the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. KMS contains push documents and step-by-step guides for the Charter High-Speed Security Suite. There's also some information on CCI about new policies, procedures, and additional push documents. And Omnipod, one of the VAS team members, if you need any further information or you just don't know where to go next. Charter Home Networking. This is another exciting product that VAS does support. Charter Home Networking includes our wireless modem gateway combination. It is, the actual name for it is the Netgear CG814WG. Now that's a lot to remember, and that's a mouthful. Don't worry, we've got step-by-steps on CCI for this product, and it says home networking. So we try to make things a little bit simple for you guys. Now do make a note that this model is only found with our home networking package. So if the customer calls in and says that they bought a Netgear from a store, that's not going to be the same modem. Also, it's the only router that the VAS team does support. So if they do call in and they've got a router or a modem that they bought from a store, you cannot transfer to VAS. VAS does not support it. They only support this one box. Home networking support continued. Specialized support provided by the VAS team is available from 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The installation and setup of the VAS product, the home networking Netgear product, laptop card and or the USB wireless adapter on up to 5 computers. That is what we actually send a trained technician out there to install for the customer. So the frontline home networking support. We do verify connectivity. We verify whether or not the customer is able to surf. And what do we do at the start of every call? We rule out RF. Thank you. The next thing you want to do is power cycle. You want to verify that the customer is trying to connect wirelessly. That means that the customer is connecting without the Ethernet cable. If they are using an Ethernet cable, then we can assist them using normal HSI troubleshooting steps. You also want to verify that the customer is subscribed to the home networking product. That will show up in the billing system, and they will be paying for home networking support, which is usually $4.99 a month.
Okay.
That's a good deal. Now, how do we identify home networking customers? Home networking customers will have a service called Home Network with an associated $4.95 charge. Pretty simple, right? Customers who have purchased this equipment without this charge can add the charge, so as long as they've got the product, they can purchase that support at a later date. But without this charge, they can add the charge and be transferred to VAS as necessary. Check the Services tab in ACSR, or if you're using ICOMS, then click the Services tab and then choose Customer Services to see if they've got support. Non-supported customer issues. Because VAS can't do it all, there are certain things that they don't support. Those things include Cinecore products such as Charter Music or High-Speed Plus. It includes the Charter High-Speed Security Suite installation. It's up to the customer to install that on their computer. Webmail is not related to home networking or the Charter High-Speed Security Suite, so they're not going to support it. Billing questions and issues should always go to the billing department. Third-party software and hardware should always go to the appropriate company, not to the VAS team. Any escalated or irate customers should not be transferred to VAS. And ePay or charter portal issues, again, that's a billing issue, or depending on what portal they're having that problem with, those do not go to VAS.
So let me make sure I have it right. The only time I can transfer somebody to VAS is if they're having an issue with their Netgear router, that's ours, or there's a problem with their Charter Chsss high-speed security suite. Am I right?
That's correct, but if they've got home networking, make sure they're paying for that support. And if they're not paying for it, go ahead and educate them on it, and you can add it on there for them. Do you guys have any questions? Because I know that was a lot of information, and it is kind of confusing differentiating between the cheese that you eat and the cheese that we use here at Charter. So if you've got questions, feel free to ask. Renee, do you have any other questions?
No, I think it's time for lunch.
All right, you guys. Get yourself some food if we made you hungry, and we appreciate you taking the time today to learn about cheese and VAS.